You're listening to Chill Your Mind Radio.
I do believe I can read you so well, probably better than yourself. I do believe I got just what you need, so maybe you should let me help you. Got all these things you wanna be. So let me in, cause I believe in what you're dreaming, baby. Eventually you're gonna see it's full of feelings. You're not alone now, don't you shut me out. Everything is hopelessly, make you rethink all the ways you look at everything. I could be the one you want endlessly. How do you do that thing you do so well, making me want you for myself? Maybe it's just that I need what I can't have, so won't you try to help?
Security in front, stage right, security in front.
I'm
you gotta do is lay 'em on there. Well, come on, come on, come on. Everybody gonna help me now. Just the people. Just a little light, I want you now. One more time, come on. All you gotta do
morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Clap your hands, clap, clap, clap. Stomp your feet, stomp, stomp, stomp. Spin around, spin, spin, spin. Alright. Good morning, good morning, good morning. 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 Wash your hands, wash, wash, wash. Shake your hands, shake, shake, shake. Brush your teeth, brush, brush, brush. Alright. Good morning.
That was a fly crawling across my camera.
That was a roach, sir. You filthy animal. Hey, good morning. It's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou, live for you on LouTube today. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the morning show with me, Uncle Lou, and my co-host, BVD. What will be joining us momentarily, unless he got ate up by a big feet up in the mountains last night. But short of that, though, he should be joining us soon. Thank you all for tuning in this morning. It's a pleasure, an absolute pleasure, to go ahead and have you all here today. It really is. Bad Dog, Clemens' son, Brian Byack, No Bueno, RMF Tide, Broccoli, RB Smata, Melissa May, CB, Russell Westbrook, fan since 2010, at least he admits it. Good job. Big Dog, Snake Spence, Bears, Cubs, Canes, Tick-Tock Chess Hall. Yep, he'll be on the show tomorrow with this week's girlfriend. Looking forward to that. Kevin Cook, Colby Ellis, Bob DeBarner, Thomas Pimental Cheese is here, Mike Reiser, Marcus Burgos. I'm 100% sure I said that wrong. HB West, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the morning show. We do this 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 8 a.m. right here on the live channel. Uncle Lou on LouTube. You know, I'm thinking about changing the name of this channel to LouTube Live. I think that would be better. I'm probably going to do that. Don't be alarmed. If you see that happen, Uncle Lou on LouTube is pretty damn silly. I can't believe none of y'all have told me that yet. Thought we were friends. Real friends will tell somebody, hey, look, man, I like the channel. I like the live shows. Doing a good job. That name's silly as hell. And no one told me. So, a little disappointed. Nevertheless, probably going to change the name of the channel to LouTube Live. Don't forget about the... hey! Don't forget about the main channel. What's just called Uncle Lou. Yeah, that's easy to remember. Uncle Lou, that's where all the videos get uploaded. We're doing the preview and prediction videos over there. Did Minnesota yesterday. Another great example of, even though these videos are a lot of work, take me a long time to do, another great example of why I do them, really. I have been down on Minnesota this offseason, and I shouldn't have been. I've made some comments and some statements about Minnesota and my thoughts on what they would do in 2020 over the last few months without really looking into them. I mean, listen, statements, I don't, anyway, it doesn't matter. When I do these preview and prediction videos, you know, I sit out here for an hour or whatever, researching the teams, and I learn a lot. Minnesota's going to be better in 2020 than I thought they were. I don't know if they can get to 10 wins, but they could. Their schedule is not difficult. They have 8 starters back on offense, including their quarterback, one of their 2 running backs, Rashad Bateman, who won Big Ten Receiver of the Year last year, all 5 offensive linemen. Now, their defense, they got to replace, I think they have 5 starters back on defense, so they got some work to do over there, but I don't know. They are they the favorite to win the West, or is it Wisconsin just by default? I don't know, but Minnesota has a real shot to win the West. I haven't done a preview of Wisconsin yet, but we all know they're going to have an NFL offensive line and a stable of running backs. They don't have no Jonathan Taylor that's going to give them 2,200 yards, but, you know, they might play 2 or 3 running backs, and the rushing total could be, you know, as far as the season rushing total could be close to the same for Wisconsin, so I don't know. I got to wait until I do a preview on them, but Minnesota's going to be good again in 2020. I did that one yesterday. What else have I done this week? Oh, I did FSU the other day. People big mad in there in that comment section. I love it. And I got Notre Dame and Wisconsin coming up to close this week out. So those will be the 4 that we get this week. The 2 I've already done, Florida State and Minnesota, and Notre Dame and Wisconsin coming up. I don't have the full list in front of me for next week, but LSU, I believe, is up first next week, which will be Tuesday because, of course, I'll be out of town. I'll be out of town tomorrow through Monday. I am doing the morning show tomorrow, though. I'm leaving after the morning show. So there will be a morning show tomorrow. There will not be a morning show on Friday. I mean, on Monday. Because I'll be coming back. I'll be coming back here on Monday, and then I'll have the LSU video up on Tuesday. So anyway, that's the plan for now through next Tuesday. I don't have the list in front of me, so I don't know what the other 3 or 4 teams are that I'll be previewing next week. But Notre Dame, Wisconsin to close out this week. LSU on Tuesday. Night show tonight at 10 p.m. Don't forget about that. Every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 p.m. Uncle Lou After Dark, the college football call-in show. Yeah, tell your friends about it. Hell, tell your enemies about it, too. Yeah, that's tonight. Morning show tomorrow. No morning show on Monday. I might have to fire BBD, ain't we? I don't know where he's at today. Might be on my own. I probably have to end the show a little early today, too. Phase 1. Phase 1 of the brand new Uncle Lou, LouTube Studios, starts today. That's right. Got some people coming over. I don't know when they're coming. They might be here now. I told them, don't. If you get here, don't bother me. I'm very busy and important. I'll get with you when I can. But got the tree people coming over today to get rid of a couple of trees. basically clear cut an area of land in my backyard for me where there's 2 trees there, a bunch of bushes, and honestly weeds. It's this area back in the back of my yard. Anyway, none of y'all care about the details, but point is I might have to wrap the show up a little bit early today to go out there and supervise them. Yeah, so that's good. Getting that stuff out of the way so we can get to work on the brand new and improved, I hope, LouTube Studios. Yes, the first step is today. I went yesterday and signed the paperwork for the actual building that's getting built back there. But before they can do any of that, I got to get those trees out of here. So that's happening today. So anyway, that's what's going on with me. There's some college football news this morning, too, and it's not very good, to be honest. Brian Biak, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, who's ready to wash their hands? Clap, clap, clap. Wee! Thank you both for showing up today. Glad to have you at my desk. You might have spoke too soon when you said both in that. Might stuck with just Uncle Lou today. Might have to pluck somebody out of the comments section to call in. We'll see. Thank you for the super chats, Brian Biak. Yeah. All right. Here's the PayPal link. I'll post it one time. If the mods want to post it a couple of more times, that's fine. Just don't spam the chat with it. People hate that. But there's the PayPal link if you want to support the show this morning and you want Uncle Lou to get 100% of that support without YouTube stealing half. There you go. The super chat is fine, though. So thank you. Whatever's easier or more convenient even for you. That's right. Now, college football news. Now, a game has been canceled. This is not a joke here. The Southern Heritage Classic. This is an HBCU game that's played every year since 1990. This year, it was played in the Liberty Bowl up in Memphis. It's been canceled due to the coronavirus. This was announced yesterday. Jackson State and Tennessee State were scheduled to play in the 31st annual Southern Heritage Classic on September 12th. It ain't happening. It's been canceled. On Monday, the health department in Shelby County, Tennessee, where Memphis is located, reported 256 coronavirus cases, the largest increase in a single day since the beginning of the pandemic. The department announced that an anticipated move into Phase 3 of reopening would be delayed as a result. The game's organizer said the decision to cancel was made after reviewing a copy of the Shelby County Health Department's directive detailing emergency management relief to address the pandemic. Last season, a crowd of 48,347 watched Jackson State defeat Tennessee State 49-44. The game's promoters said more than 75,000 people annually attend the 3-day event, which includes tailgating and a parade. Quote, I know this is a great disappointment to many who consider the Southern Heritage Classic one of the major highlights of the year, founder Fred Jones said in a statement. The health and safety of our athletes, along with our staff, sponsors, and others, is a top priority. I encourage everyone to keep practicing recommended safety and social distancing measures so that we can return to our usual activities as soon as possible. In a statement, the Memphis Athletic Department said it will continue to stay in contact with the state, local, and regional health officials for guidance on home games in the fall. And all current indications are that home games will be played as planned. That's for Memphis, the Memphis Tigers. The university said that based on current projections, only season ticket holders would be accommodated and there will be no single game sales for home games. So they're limiting seating, Memphis is. All season ticket holders will get in. No one else is getting in. Memphis is scheduled to start the season against Arkansas State at home on September 5th. So there you go. And honestly, I think as we get closer to the start of the season, I mean, all these quotes and statements and all this stuff that all these athletic directors and college presidents have been putting out for the last 3 months saying, we're planning on doing everything as normal. They're going to have to start getting a lot more specific than that as we get closer to the start of the season. I can't be the only one. Listen, I don't get season tickets, right? So if I want to go to a game, I either buy them off of somebody who does have the tickets, or I go to StubHub or SeatGeek or whatever the hell, one of those type places. and I've said this before, I want to go to the Georgia-Alabama game. There's zero chance I'm plopping down $1,000 for a couple of tickets to that game until I know 100% for certain that I'm going to be allowed into that game. And I don't know that. I hope that's the case for all the games that we get to play them as normal with a packed house. But I'm not putting down money for tickets now just to find out a month from now that they're going to do something like Memphis. Only season ticket holders can get. I'm just not falling for that. I don't even know. Maybe one of y'all know. Does StubHub and those type of places? Let me pull the comments back up. Do StubHub and all those type places, do they have an announced policy on what they will do? In other words, if I go on StubHub right now and buy a ticket for that Georgia-Alabama game, and then a week before the game they announce, well, we're only letting in 40,000 people and, blah, 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 and I'm one of the people who's not being let in. What is the StubHub policy on that? I guess I could have looked it up, but maybe one of y'all already has and can let us know. Is there a refund policy through StubHub? Am I just stuck? Am I out the money? Do I get half the money back? Have they announced anything on that yet? I could probably go to their website and find out. Keaton, thank you for the super chat this morning, sir. BVD, read your text messages. There might be an important one from your co-host in regards to the morning show. Let's see what kind of excuse this is now. Not going to make the show this morning, but should be good for tomorrow. Just tell everyone I'm having phone issues. I got you. I got you, sir. Yeah, so does anybody know? Melissa says she ain't taking a risk. I don't blame you. Flare up in November. That, to me, that would be the worst. To me, that would be the absolute worst. I'm not going to lie. I don't know. I was going to say I would almost rather the season get canceled right from the jump than to get 7, 8, 9 games into the season and it get canceled. But I don't know. At least I don't know. How disappointing would that be, especially if whatever team you're a fan of is well positioned, like for a playoff run or whatever. I mean, how disappointing would that be to get 7, 8, 9 games in? Your team is 7-0, 8-0, 9-1, whatever. Positioned to win a division or have a shot at the playoffs or something, and they cancel it. That would be. That might be worse than them just coming out in the middle of August and saying, you know what, we just can't risk it. The season is off. I don't know. I guess maybe some football better than no football. I get that, but man, how disappointing would that be? So yeah, you're right. You're right. That would be awful. Jordan Gary, thank you for the super chat this morning. I want to go ahead and tell us BVD to get rid of that Cricket phone. What is he? I think he got about a Go Wireless or whatever. What you got? Boost Mobile. Ain't there Boost Mobile out there? Yeah. Kevin says that might cause a riot. Yeah, it would be awful. So I don't know. I really don't know. All I do know is that exactly 3 months ago, there was 100 people dead from coronavirus. Fast forward 3 months to today, and there's 117,000 people dead from coronavirus. So I don't know. I don't know. Hey, Georgia fans. No more Gone with the Wind music from the Redcoat Marching Band. I could care less. It doesn't bother me one bit. I don't know. I know some people are going to complain, but I really don't care. But yeah, University of Georgia yesterday announced. It's a song they play a lot. It's the theme from Gone with the Wind. If you've been to any Georgia game, you've heard it during the halftime show. They play it almost every single game. Even if you can't think in your head right now how that song goes, if you were to hear it, you would go, "Oh yeah, that's right. They play that every time." You might not even know it's the theme from Gone with the Wind, but it's just a song that the band has been playing at halftime forever, and they're not playing that anymore. So that's that. Nah, I was gonna make fun of y'all for complaining about the syrup and the rice thing yesterday, but I'm not gonna do that. I had enough fun with that yesterday on Facebook. Albert Sancho, thank you, sir. He says all players and fans should require face masks. I don't know about the players. You can. I don't think you can. No. There's no way. If it's so bad that the players have to wear face masks while they're playing, then they're not playing. You can't wear a face mask and play a game of football. There's no way. I mean, look at these offensive linemen. They run 15 yards. They have to come to the bench and put an oxygen mask on. There's no way they're playing a game with a mask on that impedes your ability to breathe. Zero chance of that. Warzone, thank you for the super chat. He says, good morning, Lou. As much as I want college football, I have a bad gut feeling it might not happen with cases on the rise again. It's possible. We'll see. I've been having a lot of comments. This is the time of year. I've been doing this a long time. So this is the time of year. A lot of you stick around this channel year round, and y'all are the real MVP. I love you guys. But there are a lot of people that watch, not just Uncle Lou, but there's a lot of people that pay attention to college football from about this time of year through January, and then they could care less, and then they come back this time of year. I'm getting a lot of people showing up in the comments who haven't been around for the last 5 or 6 months, and, we've talked the whole coronavirus thing to death on this channel as it relates to college football, but, of course, they weren't around for that, so and I guess they're still not paying that close of attention because I keep getting several comments a day on the channel from people saying, I think the season's going to get canceled because some player on one of these teams is going to end up getting the coronavirus. There's dozens, probably hundreds of players already that have coronavirus on these teams, and nothing's got canceled yet. I mean, they quarantined the ones that have tested positive, 3 players on this team, 7 players on that team, a couple of players on that team, we've talked about most of them on this channel. I think Alabama had some, Oklahoma State, Marshall. There's been several schools that have announced it. Now, they don't have to announce it, so you got to assume there's a bunch of other schools that probably have a couple of players that tested positive too, but they're just quarantining those players for 14 days. The rest of the team is going on about their business. Now, it would be a little bit of a different issue during the season. I'll agree with you there because one school is going to have to trust the other school that they're doing the right thing, right? And we've talked about this before too. What do you do if you're Tennessee and you're playing you're playing South Carolina next week, right? What do you do if on Wednesday, leading up to the game, South Carolina comes out and says, "Oh, we had 6 players test positive for the coronavirus, but don't worry, those 6 players are going to sit out." How confident and comfortable can you be if you're Tennessee that those are the only 6 that had it, right? How much of a risk are coaches and athletic directors and school presidents willing to take with the health and safety of their players? So it is going to be interesting during the season if you have a breakout within a team. How does the other team handle it that is playing them, right? I'll tell you what I think. Take who's Georgia playing week 2? I done forgot now. But it's a who can tell me? I'll just look it up. Drawing a blank on who it's not a lower team, but it's not a Power 5 team. East Tennessee State. Okay. East Tennessee State. So we play Virginia week 1. Let's say that game goes off without a hitch. Then on Wednesday of the next week, leading up to the East Tennessee State game, East Tennessee State comes out and says, we had 6 players test positive for coronavirus. I don't think Georgia should play that game. I think they should cancel it. That game's not worth any amount of risk, in my opinion. What are you going to learn about Georgia when they play East Tennessee State? Nothing. They beat them 100-0. What does that mean? Nothing. You still have to play Alabama the next week. let's say Georgia's a 7-point underdog to Alabama. If they go out and beat East Tennessee State 100-0, they're still going to be a 7-point that's not going to make people go, oh, yeah, now Georgia might only be a 3-point underdog. No. So, but what do you do if it happens between, the week leading up to the Georgia-Florida game, and Georgia and Florida are both sitting there at 7-0? And Florida comes out and says we got 6 players with coronavirus. Then what do you do? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, for sure. It's easy to say, well, we got 6 players that are positive. We're just going to leave them. We're going to leave them. We're not bringing them to the game. They're quarantined. That's one thing. But does the other school trust that? And, how often you got 6 people positive on Wednesday, if you're Florida, let's say. Georgia's going to want all those players tested again on Thursday. Then they're going to want all of them tested on Friday. They're going to want all of them tested Saturday morning. And then 6 third stringers. Okay. But what if your starting quarterback, your starting middle linebacker, and your star wide receiver get it? I mean, then what? So it's going to be a strange season. I don't think it's going to be a normal season. Some issues are going to crop up, I think. Whatever those issues are, whether it's limited seating, fans with masks, players getting quarantined in the middle of the season, some games getting canceled during the season because a team gets infected. There's probably going to be some things that pop up. It's impossible to guess what those things might be at this point, I think, but we'll see. We will see. What else was I going to do this morning? Nothing, I think. Let's see. See if there's any more news here. There might be. North Florida white trash. Thank you, sir. Hitting that PayPal link. He says, good morning, Lou. Check your inbox after the show. Talking about email, I guess, huh? Will do, sir. Will do. Will do. What other news is there? Well, UJ band drops Gone with the Wind theme. I told you about that. Ex-South Carolina stars want to rename Strom Thurmond Center. I did not know there was a building at South Carolina named after that racist, but apparently there is. Several former South Carolina football players, including Marcus Lattimore and Alshon Jeffrey, are leading a campaign to rename the Strom Thurmond Wellness and Fitness Center on the school's campus. The former Gamecocks, who also include former Carolina running back Mike Davis, also Shaq Wilson, now on the football staff at Tennessee, shared the same statement on social media. To celebrate a well-known segregationist, Strom Thurmond's legacy by keeping his name on our wellness center sends a contradicting message to our black students at the University of South Carolina. We can no longer be held back by those whose ideals represent division. We must continue to fight for equality. So there you go. Strom Thurmond opposed the 1957 Civil Rights Act by making the longest filibuster in history by a single senator, speaking for a total of 24 hours and 18 minutes straight. He did us all a favor and died in 2003 at the age of 100. He was the longest-serving U.S. senator and the oldest man ever to serve in Congress. He donated $10,000 towards the building of the $38 million fitness center. $10,000 towards a $38 million building. That ain't that. $10,000 is not nearly enough. Can you really get your name put on a building for $10,000? Because if that's the case, then you can expect an Uncle Lou building at the University of Georgia sometime in the next 10 years. Well, after my kids get out of college. How about that? So maybe a little longer than 10 years. $15 years. How about that? In 15 years, there will be a building named after Uncle Lou if the cost of that is $10,000. But listen, that name's coming down. I don't know. I'm not saying it's going to happen today, but all this, I told you this the other day, all this stuff is going away. You can hate it, love it, or have no opinion on it one way or the other. All of that crap is going, it's just going away. I mean, it just is. There's nothing you can do to stop it. Time has passed those things by. Those things are going to be gone sooner rather than, like I said, I don't know when, but it's going to be sooner rather than later. All these participation trophy statues and all these second place memorials and all that stuff is going to be gone. It's just happening. Doesn't matter what we think about it. It's all going away. So that's that. Smokey Ramirez hits the nail on the head. That's what museums are for. You're exactly right. Athens is in a world of trouble if a building is named after Uncle Lou. If the cost is $10,000, I mean, I'm not even joking. $10,000. You donated $10,000 towards a $38 million building, and now your name is on it. Yep. So, and he's dead now. So they don't even have to worry about pissing him off or giving him a refund. Just take the name off, put somebody else. Hell, put Steve Spurrier's name on it. He actually won the East one time at South Carolina, which is, you know how much of an accomplishment and miracle that is? Steve Spurrier might be the greatest coach in the history of college football. I know Saban has more national titles, but do you know how difficult it is to win a division at the University of South Carolina? And Steve Spurrier found a way to do it. And it wasn't like, it wasn't like one of these weird years where, it wasn't like everybody in the East was 8-4 and they just happened to win a tiebreaker no, they were 11-1. You know how hard that is to do, South Carolina? It's damn near impossible. So, I mean, you're talking about a school here who hasn't won a conference championship since 1969, and that was the ACC. And we know how terrible it is, and it was just as terrible in 1969. South Carolina had like 4 losses that year in 1969 and still won the ACC. And still got their ass beat by Georgia that year. So, that guy's name is coming off that building, period. The lake here, where I live. Now, most people don't call it that. Forever, the lake here, forever in a day, was called Clarks Hill. Clarks Hill Lake and Dam. That was the name of it. Clarks Hill Lake. Most people around here, especially people who've been here forever, like yours truly, Uncle Lou, still call it Clarks Hill. Maybe it was in 2003, though, or shortly after, if that's when he died, they renamed it Strom Thurmond Lake. The lake is in between Georgia and South Carolina. So, Strom Thurmond is a South Carolina guy, but the lake, there's coastline along Georgia, and there's coastline along South Carolina of that lake. It sits in between the two. The Savannah River is the border between Georgia and South Carolina. The Savannah River ends, of course, in Savannah. Empties out into the ocean. The Savannah River starts in Augusta, Georgia, from the lake. That's where Savannah River starts. So there you go. The more you know. You learn some geography today, or whatever it's called when you study rivers and whatnot. The lake is half Georgia, half South Carolina, but for whatever reason, when that Klan member, Strom Thurmond, passed away or whatever it was, someone thought it was a good idea to name the lake. So that'll be the next one. Somebody around here will want that changed, and it'll probably happen. It's just the way it is. Again, doesn't matter whether we agree, disagree, or have no opinion at all. All this stuff is this stuff is just going away. It just is. I, for one, don't mind it. I think it probably should have happened a long time ago, but it didn't for pretty obvious reasons, in my opinion. What else? Oh, UNLV's got to get a new mascot. What is UNLV called? The Running Rebels? Yep, that's no good. Can't have that. UNLV officials have removed the Hey Reb statue from campus, and UNLV president indicated that changes would be coming to the university's mascot. Hey Reb statue stood in front of the TAM Alumni Center. In a letter posted on social media Tuesday, UNLV officials state they are returning the statue to its donor. So there you go. Add that to the list of things you're mad about. A bunch of people who didn't even know that statue existed until I just told them it did. They will never go view it. Like I said, if you lined up 100 statues, they couldn't point it out, but now they're upset about it. It's going away. It just is. Rob W. says it's Clarks Hill. We just went boating and camping Saturday. Yeah, everybody around here calls it Clarks Hill, but the official name is Lake Thurman. But if you're from here for a long time, you still call it Clarks Hill. I do. Everybody I know that's been here forever still calls it Clarks Hill. Are you going up to Clarks Hill? Yep. Nobody calls it Lake Thurman around here. People who move here in the last 15 years call it Lake Thurman. That's how you know. If you're out somewhere and somebody starts talking about Lake Thurman, you say, oh, when'd you move here? 10 years ago? 5 years ago? Cool. Yeah, they call it Clarks Hill, and you know they've been here a long time. That's just what it is. Thank you for the super chat, Rob. Appreciate that, sir. Let's see. Yeah. So, say goodbye to the UNLV Captain Reb or whatever the hell his name was. Kellen Mond still trying to get that statue taken down. I'm kind of surprised it's taking this long. Why is it? I thought it'd be gone by now, honestly. Texas A&M quarterback Kellen Mond, who has been advocating for the removal of a statue, stepped up his campaign Tuesday, saying, I need to see action. The statue, known as Sully, was built in 1919 in honor of Ross, who served as the Aggies school president from 1891 to 1898, and is credited with saving the university amid financial struggles and boosting its enrollment. The statue sits prominently in the center of the campus in College Station, Texas. About 24,000 people have signed a petition for the statue's removal, and about 25,000 have signed one to keep it. There were protests on both sides of the issue last weekend. Mond, a senior, issued a statement Tuesday saying that the arguments of Sullivan's contributions to A&M should not outweigh his past, citing several historical examples. And this is a really long letter that he posted. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Yeah, I'm not going to read. That's a real long letter. Basically, he lists all the things that this Ross guy did that were racist or whatever. Well, here's a little bit of it. Kellen Mond. The values of Texas A&M University do not align with racism, violence, slavery, and segregation. But Jimbo Fisher's most prominent saying will always stick with me. Your actions speak so loud, I can't hear what you're saying. The Ross statue needs to be removed. Texas A&M University, I need to see action. Several current and former players tweeted in support of Kellen Mond, including Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel might be the most embarrassing figure to come from Texas A&M since this General Ross character. It's possible. Yeah, I'm not going to read the rest of that. It's, anyway, so that statue will be coming down. It's just a matter of time. Now, ESPN does have an interesting actual football article up, which is weird. But unfortunately, you have to be a paid member of this stupid ESPN Insider. I'm not falling for that. I'm just not. This article will be free to read in a day or two, and then we'll talk about it. But the title of the article is "The Most Hyped College Football Recruits for Each Top 25 Team." I can tell you who. I can tell you who it'll be for Georgia. I can tell you right now who it'll be for Georgia. It'll be the highest rated recruit Georgia ever signed. There's some trivia for you. Who's the highest rated recruit your team has ever signed? Whatever team you're a fan of. Do you know? And if you're a Georgia fan, or if you're not a Georgia fan, maybe you just know. Who is the highest rated recruit that the University of Georgia has ever signed? Yeah, Tyler P. got it right off the bat. Of course, Tyler P. is a virtual encyclopedia of college football knowledge. Yeah, Justin Fields. Yeah. It's funny to me because the highest rated recruit Georgia ever signed, Justin Fields, 1 year at Georgia and did nothing. We completely wasted him. Then he goes to another team and does amazing, right? Now think about the Atlanta Falcons. Who's the best player? Who's the best player the Atlanta Falcons have ever drafted? Ever. I'm going to wait and see this one here. We might get some good guesses on this one. Who's the best player the Atlanta Falcons have ever drafted? Yeah, I'll check my email here in a second. No, Chess, not Michael Vick. Not Dion. Kevin Cook got it. Brett Favre. Wasted away for 1 year in Atlanta. Traded away. And had an amazing career. One of the best 5 or 10 quarterbacks of all time. The touchdown leader. I mean, what is it? What you know, these trolls that say Georgia sports are cursed, they may be onto something here. They honestly might be onto something. Falcons blow the 28-3 lead to the Patriots. Georgia blows 2 touchdown leads to Alabama in back-to-back years. The best player Georgia has ever signed, currently a Heisman favorite on a national title contending team in Ohio State. The best player the Falcons have ever drafted, Brett Favre, does nothing, can barely get on the field. They give him away for nothing. They traded him for they traded Brett Favre for a draft pick. They didn't use that draft pick to draft a guard. It was an offensive lineman. And 2 years later, that offensive lineman wasn't even in the NFL anymore, while Brett Favre was busy throwing touchdown passes and winning playoff games and Super Bowls for the Green Bay Packers. Meanwhile, the Atlanta Falcons, still 0 Super Bowls in team history. Green Bay got some, though, with Brett Favre. So it's just weird and alarming that this has happened. And I got myself worked up out here now. Jesus H. Christ. Thinking about how bad. The curse is real. I can't even argue with people when they say it anymore. The curse is real. We're so desperate here in this state that people pretended to celebrate an Atlanta United championship in soccer. That's how desperate we are here for a champion. Believe I let y'all get me worked up this morning. Lou, check the morning show email. All right. You check the email. Seems to be a lot of people emailing. Let's see what we got here. Welcome to the morning show where Uncle Lou reads his emails. Okay. Yep. Okay. All right. Okay. See that? Yep. Okay. Well, the first question I have, first of all, thank you for the super chat, Michael Gill. But my number one question I would have before I even click on this email is, what in the name of all things holy are you doing emailing people at 4:46 a.m. in the morning? The early bird does get the worm, sir. Believe me, I know. I don't even get up at 4:46, though. 5 a.m. is the earliest I'll get up. Sometimes during the season I get up at 4:30, but that's rare, very rare. I usually get up at 5 a.m. and I think that's pretty early. So, but God bless you, sir. Now let's see this email. Ba, 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 ba. Are you serious? How many of you do I don't know if you want me talking about that on the air or not. If you want me to talk about that, Michael Guild, you don't have to do another super chat. If you want me talking about that, let me know. If not, I'll just email you back about it. Or we can discuss it now for everyone's listening pleasure. Sleeta, good morning, sir. It makes no sense to address Favre. What if in Atlanta now the curse? Yes. Well, it makes perfect sense to discuss Favre. Sir, he's the best player Falcons ever drafted. Well, it does make sense when you're discussing the curse to mention Brett Favre. At least, to me, it makes perfect sense. If the Falcons didn't know he would be great, why did they draft him? Come on. Deion is close. I will give you that. An argument could be made for Deion Sanders. I'll give you that. My issue with Deion, well, I don't have an issue with Deion, but but you may be right. That's close, actually. I think that's at least debatable. I think arguments could be made either way. Deion played for every team. He played for 3 teams, didn't he? Didn't he only play for 3 teams? Sometimes when I have an opinion and someone states an opposite opinion, I'm like, no, that's ridiculous. You don't know what you're talking about. The argument for Deion is a legitimate one. I happen to disagree with it. I would probably still say Favre is the best player Falcons ever drafted, but a legitimate argument can be made for Deion Sanders. No doubt about it. If you want to look at it like, well, Brett Favre, depending on who makes the list, Brett Favre is a top 5, top 10 QB of all time. Deion, defensive back, some would probably have him tops all time, but top 5, top 10 without question. So an argument can definitely be made there, I think. Yeah, Deion was playing for the Braves and the Falcons at the same time. In fact, he once played for the Falcons at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and then played for the Braves. Or maybe it was the other way around. He played for both in the same day. He played a NFL football game and a Major League Baseball game in the same day. There was I think it was a 30 for 30. If it wasn't, maybe it wasn't a 30 for 30. Maybe it was just a special. But ESPN did like a 2-hour special on Deion, and it does a good job of telling the story about when he played for the Falcons and the Braves at the same time. And neither the Falcons nor the Braves were happy about it. And he ended up having some issues with both teams because of that. But that was amazing. Bo Jackson never did that. Bo Jackson would play baseball until the football season started. And if his team was in the playoffs, he would stay with the baseball team, then go to football. That's how he handled it. Deion was playing both at the same time. Andre Bad Moon Rising, yeah. Deion played for the Ravens? Now, that one I didn't remember. I knew he played for the 49ers, the Cowboys, and the Falcons. I didn't remember him playing for the Ravens. Deion played for the Redskins? What? Wait a minute. The Redskins and the Ratbird. What? Is that true? I don't remember him playing for the. Well, I told you I'm not that much of an NFL fan, so that proves that. Oh, yeah, you're welcome, Sleeta. I'm here to serve, buddy. Don't forget to give me a shout out. I think the Ratbirds are the Ravens, I think he's talking about. Yeah, I don't remember the Redskins or the Ravens. No, I believe you. I don't have to look it up. I believe you. I'm not a huge NFL fan, so I'm not going to argue with you there. You say he played for him, I'll take your word for it. The Deadskins. Well, I learned something today. I had no idea. I would have lost a trivia thing. I would have named the Falcons, Cowboys, and 49ers. I do not remember the Redskins and the Ravens. I would have lost that trivia question. The Lakers are the Patriots of the NBA. That's a pretty good analogy. The Lakers and the Yankees are two of the biggest known sports brands in all the world, not just the United States. I would put the Cowboys probably in there too, and then you got several soccer teams. I know soccer's not big here, but save it. Trust me, when you're talking about on a worldwide scale, NFL football pales in comparison. It's not even close in terms of world popularity to big-time soccer. It's just not. Now, in the States, yes, clearly, NFL is the king of the castle, cream of the crop. But when you're talking about worldwide, Lakers, Yankees, Cowboys, and then a bunch of soccer teams way ahead of them. Lonzo is the Buffalo Bills of Utah.
You big dummy!
One of the greatest theme songs of all time, right there. You can hear literally any 2-second clip of that song, and immediately, Sanford and Son, just immediately, it's like the minute your ear hears that, you just know Sanford and Son. Jabari says, Uncle Lou, did you see the fullback that the Ravens got out of Georgia? Georgia hasn't had a fullback since Kirby got there, so I'm not sure who you're referring to. We abandoned the fullback when Kirby got there. We were one of the last college teams to still use a fullback on a regular basis. Kirby got rid of that in 2016. But who was it? Brendan Sutherland was one of my favorite fullbacks Georgia had ever. But I'm not sure who you're talking about though. Yeah, you let me know. I'll try to catch the comment. Blake West says, "In the Heat of the Night" was my favorite. Really? That's kind of surprising. Jeff Webster, Bama uses a fullback in goal line situations. Everyone does that, but Bama does not run an I formation offense. No one does anymore. If you watch 100 Alabama plays, you might see a fullback twice. Oh, Aunt Esther was hilarious, Sleeta. Watching her and Fred Sanford go at it was comedy gold. Did you see that UVA changed its logo? Yes, I did see that. It was. I mean, you hardly can notice the change. If you show the one they had and then the one they changed it to, it's like one of those pictures. You know those the spot the difference pictures. It's like that. Like unless someone circles, it's hard to even tell the difference between them. Jabari says he did not go to Georgia. I think he went to Kennesaw State. His name was Bronson Rechsteiner. Oh, okay. No, I've never heard of him. Rob Dog, that's right. You old fish-eyed fool. That was a great show. That one, and I liked. Now, here's a good one. What's better? I think everyone would agree. Okay, Sanford and Son, the Jeffersons, and Good Times. I would be surprised if anyone said, like, what's the best out of those three? I think it's Sanford and Son, and I would be surprised if very many people disagreed. But what about Good Times and the Jeffersons? What did y'all like more out of those two? I liked Good Times better. And I think I'm in the minority there. I think probably more people would say the Jeffersons. I actually liked Good Times. JJ in the Good Times was hilarious. The kid dynamite thing he would do, and he would walk around like that with his arms up in the air. Like I just thought that was hilarious. Bama is kicker you. Yeah. Right. Beverly Hillbillies was good, too. Yeah, I like that one, too. Gilligan's Island is another one I used to watch a lot when I was a kid. I bet you I've seen every episode of Gilligan's Island. I never got into What's Happening, Sleeta. No, I never got into that one. All in the Family was funny. Yep. All in the Family and the Jeffersons did a few crossover episodes. You guys remember when George Jefferson showed up at Archie's house and slapped him or kissed him on the cheek? That was hilarious. Hilarious. Oh, the Dave Chappelle Show is probably one of the greatest TV shows of all time, in my opinion. It's not just that it's funny. It's the genius of the comedy, and Dave Chappelle is a comedic genius. Honestly, he's up there in my mind with somebody like a George Carlin. There's a lot of funny comedians that get up and tell jokes, and they're hilarious. But there's certain comedians to me that just stand out as being intellectually funny. And I'm into that kind of thing. And George Carlin, Dave Chappelle, I think those are two of the greatest of all time. Slim Shady, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, one thing primetime will never know is what it's like to beat the Miami Hurricanes. Some college football Deion smack there from his days back at Florida State. Thank you for the super chat, Slim. I appreciate that. Hope you're doing well this morning. Staying safe out on that road. Slim's a truck driver. Did you watch Different Strokes, Uncle Lou? Yes, I did watch Different Strokes. It was okay. It was never one of my favorites, but it was okay. I would watch it if it was on. Did you like Dukes of Hazzard? I never really got into Dukes of Hazzard. I watched some of the old episodes when I was younger. Dukes of Hazzard kind of like the other one. Shoot, I forget. Someone just asked about the other one. What'd they say? Where did it go? Dukes of Hazzard. Oh, Different Strokes. I would watch them if they were on, but neither one of those was really ever my was one of my favorites or anything. Dago, I don't know if you're trolling or not, he says Golden Girls are underrated. I'm not sure if you're trolling. I'm not gonna lie. I think the Golden Girls is hilarious. I'm just gonna be honest. I like the Golden Girls show. I think it's hilarious. I made a post about that on Facebook one time years ago. I was flipping through the TV at night one night, and I don't know if it was like TV Land or Nick at Night, or I don't know what channel that show comes on anymore. But it happened to be on at like 1 a.m. And I was like, oh my God. And it was a marathon or whatever. And I ended up watching like 4 or 5 episodes in a row. And at one point I took a picture of my TV where I was watching the Golden Girls, and I made a post about it on Facebook, and I got roasted. But I don't, what do I care? I get roasted on a daily basis. Anyway, but yeah, I'm not ashamed to admit I do like the Golden Girls. That was a good show. And Betty White is an American icon, an American treasure. I mean, she's the GOAT. Let's just be real. She's the GOAT. I never got into Green Acres. I don't know. See, some of those shows, Green Acres, Little House on the Prairie, some of those type of like outdoorsy farm life type shows. I grew up in the city. I've never been hunting a day in my life. I don't like fishing. I don't care about planting cucumbers and whatnot. So I never, I never got into any of those type of shows. They just never interested me. What's the one with the talking pig or whatever it was, or the talking Mr. Ed? I just never got into those shows. The talking horse and all that. I never got into any of that. Oh, Three's Company was, I like Three's Company. Yeah, Three's Company was good. Baywatch? Come on. Yeah, the A-Team. Yep, A-Team. I saw somebody, I think, mention MacGyver. There it is, MacGyver. Yeah, Kevin Cook. MacGyver, I love MacGyver. MacGyver was great. I love that show. That dude could make a nuclear bomb out of a piece of string and a chewed up piece of gum. It was unbelievable what that guy could do. Russell Westbrook said, I heard NC State is joining the SEC. Get your ears checked. If the SEC were to expand, they would be a possibility. We don't have a North Carolina team, and of all the Power 5 teams in North Carolina, I think that would be the most likely to make a move to the SEC. It wouldn't be Duke or North Carolina. They're permanent staples of the ACC forever. So if you were looking for a North Carolina team to add to the SEC, I agree NC State would probably be the one to go after. I'm not sure that would actually happen, but they would be the most likely, though. I would rather have like a Virginia Tech. Jabari says, we don't have a SEC team in Georgia. Sure about that? Notre Dame to the SEC, that won't happen. Andy Griffith was good. Yep, I like that show. And Andy Griffith was my least favorite one on there. I watched it for everybody else, Barney and the mechanic guy. And what was the... Otis. Remember Otis from Andy Griffith? He would get drunk and check himself into jail every night. Never got arrested, but spent every night in jail. Dude would just knock on the police station door and asked if he could sleep in a jail cell. Oh, that was funny. Gomer Pyle, yeah. Quantum Leap was okay. Yeah, I did watch Quantum Leap for a while. Married with Children, yeah, that's a all-time classic for sure. Yep, Floyd the Barber. Yeah. Andy Griffith ended up, I guess, being the biggest star to come out of that show, but everyone else in that show was the reason I watched it. Yeah, Orange is the New Black. I liked it for the first 2 or 3 seasons. It seemed to tail off after that to me, but it's it's definitely a show worth watching. Like if you see people make these posts all the time, like somebody recommends something I can watch on Netflix. Like if you're looking for something to watch, it's definitely worth watching. It's not terrible by any means, and the first couple of seasons are really good, but I thought it sort of tailed off. The first half of that series is way better than the second half of that series, is I guess a good way to put it. Albert Sancho, thank you for the super chat this morning, sir. He says SEC can kick out Vandy and Mizzou for FSU and Clemson. FSU is not joining the SEC. Bobby Bowden said it best. They wouldn't stand a chance in the SEC. And that's Bobby Bowden's words, not Uncle Lou's. So if you're a Florida State fan, take it up with Bobby Bowden. Florida State had an opportunity to join the SEC back in the 90s, and they didn't want those problems. They didn't want to smoke, so to speak, according to Bobby Bowden. So, again, take that up with him if you have an issue with it. I would love to see Clemson in the ACC. See, the problem with adding teams, every school in the conference gets a vote when you get ready to add a team to the SEC. And it's not likely that Florida would vote yes on adding Florida State. It's also not likely South Carolina would vote yes on adding Clemson. And another thing to consider is schools make most of their money now from TV deals. So when they get ready to expand, they're looking for teams in TV markets where they don't already have a team, so they can expand their viewership and then charge ESPN or whoever else more money because now they can show where they have more people watching. That's why Missouri is in the SEC. That's the only reason. There is no other reason. The only reason Missouri is in the SEC is because the SEC wanted the St. Louis TV market. That's the only reason. There's no other reason. Yeah, I think Missouri has beat us once, maybe twice since joining the SEC back in 2011 or whatever it was. Even the years where you guys remember Missouri won the East in back-to-back years. Was that 13 and 14, I believe. I think it was 13 and 14. Believe it was. Anyway, they won the East in back-to-back years. Georgia beat them both those years. Remember when Arkansas had a good season a few years back? No. No, I don't. I don't remember that. North Dakota State to the Power 5. Yeah, that's not happening. They would get annihilated. North Dakota State, there's not a what's the worst Power 5 conference? The ACC? North Dakota State would be below 500. Where would Boise State go? Pac-12, Big 12, AAC. Boise State should go to the Pac-12 or the Big 12, either one. I don't know why the Big 12 doesn't expand yesterday. And it should be Boise State, and it should be Central Florida. I don't understand. I don't understand how that hasn't already happened. I don't get it. I don't get it. If you look at the way college football is headed, everything is coming from TV money. You're headed towards these super conferences right now. Get most of the conferences have 14. I think it's going to go to 16 eventually. I don't understand why the Big 12 chooses to just tread water with 10 teams, and only 2 of them are really national brands. Ask yourself this. Who is more well-known nationally amongst college football fans? Central Florida, Boise State, or Texas Tech? Like, as a college football fan, what team do you know more about? If you had to bet your life savings on you correctly guessing the record of a Boise State, a Central Florida, or Texas Tech, so you need to know something about these teams to make that big of a bet. Who are you betting on? Not Texas Tech, probably. I don't understand what the Big 12 is doing. I really don't. I talked about this, I think, in the Oklahoma preview video. The Big 12 has made a series of some of the worst business decisions when it comes to college football I've ever seen, ever. They lose Missouri and Texas A&M. They don't do anything to backfill them, nothing. Then they get rid of divisions, and they go to no conference championship game. And then they tried to convince us that they were doing it right and everyone else was wrong. You remember that? Their slogan was the Big 12, one true champion, as if everyone else's champion wasn't quote unquote true. So the Big 12, basically two teams abandoned the Big 12. No one else wanted to join the Big 12. They were sinking. They were underwater, right? And they tried to act like they were doing it the right way and everyone else was wrong. Nope, we got 10 teams. We're going to play a round robin. Every team is going to play all 9 other teams. We're the only conference that does that. We're the only one. Yeah, you're the only one that does that because you're stupid. There's a reason every other conference has 2 divisions and 12 or 14 teams. There's a reason. One true champion. And then after a couple of years of that flopping and falling on its face, they had to petition the NCAA to allow them to play a conference championship game, because when the rules were written, you had to have a minimum of 12 teams in your conference if you wanted to hold a conference championship game. And the Big 12 couldn't talk anybody into joining, so they were stuck with 10. So once they realized the whole let's tell everybody they're doing it wrong and we're doing it right thing, once they realized that wasn't working, they said, well, maybe we need to go back to a conference championship game, but no one wants to join our crappy conference, so let's see if we can get a waiver from the NCAA, and if they'll allow us to play a conference championship game, even though we only have 10 teams. And, of course, the NCAA said, yeah, you can play it. So now they're back to playing a conference championship game. So according to their own logic, they're now doing it wrong. So they're just stupid. Now, look at what they're doing now. They signed this huge TV deal with Fox Sports. Okay, amazing. Everyone knows, the ACC and the Pac-12, that's ABC. Everyone knows. Notre Dame, that's NBC. For years, the SEC was CBS, game of the week, 3:30. You already knew. ABC, game of the week, 8 o'clock at night. You know it's going to be a Big Ten game. It almost always is. Sometimes it's a Pac-12 game, but usually it's a Big Ten game, right? The Big 12 needed a network. They go out, they sign this huge deal with Fox Sports. The least watched channel when it comes to college football is Fox. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. You can look these numbers up. The least watched channel. They go out, they sign a huge deal with Fox Sports. Fox Sports gets first pick every week of Big 12 games. Whatever the biggest game of the week is, they can pick any game they want, Fox Sports. Right? And guess what time they put it on TV? Noon. This is insane. What are the noon? Everyone knows the noon games are the warm-up games. What do you want? You want a primetime game as a fan, even as a player and as a team and as a coach. You want a primetime game. But if you can't get that, you want the mid-afternoon game, the 3:30, the 4 o'clock game, right? The biggest game of the week, every single week in the Big 12, is on at noon. That is ridiculous. That means it's being played at 11 o'clock in the morning, local time. If you're in Texas or Oklahoma or, in Iowa in Central Time. So point is, just a series of dumb, stupid decisions that the Big 12 has made. Just mind-boggling. It seems like they are purposely trying to make themselves defunct. It's just the weirdest thing. Now, I don't know why y'all did that to me, get me off talking about the Big 12, but anyway. Didn't I say I had to end the show early? What time is it? Yeah, we'll wrap it up here in a few minutes. You got me goddamn mad now. Yeah, but that game comes on at night, Trevor. The Big Ten game. Sure am excited to watch Texas and Oklahoma play at noon again this year. Man. No. Yeah, ESPN can't take the game from Fox. Fox gets first. These things they go in order. I'll explain the SEC because that's the one I know exactly how it works, but they all work about the same way. The SEC has TV deals with it's changed now. I'm going to talk about last year and in the last 15 years how it's worked. It's getting ready to change now, but the way it's always worked, the SEC had TV deals with CBS and ESPN. CBS gets the first pick of game. Any game CBS wants, they get. And they have to play it at 3:30. Once a year, CBS can pick 2 games, and one of them can be played at night. That's how it works. So every single week, CBS picks the game they want. That's why Georgia, Florida is at 3:30 every year. That's why Auburn, Alabama is at 3:30 every year. If you go back 2 or 3, it was more than that. I think it was 2014. There was a year where one of those 2 teams was really, really bad. Must have been 2014. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Might have been 2012. Hell, I don't know. I think it was it 2012? No, 2011. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There was one time, sometime within the last 10 years, where they were both pretty bad, and CBS did not pick the Iron Bowl, and it ended up being a night game, which the fans love, but that's why. So anyway, the SEC gets CBS gets the first pick of SEC game. It goes on at 3:30, except for 1 week a year they get 2 games, and one of them can be at night. So CBS picks the game, 3:30. ESPN then gets the choice of all other SEC games. And when I say ESPN, I'm talking ESPN, ESPN2, whatever they want to put it on, and SEC Network. So that's how it works. And then ESPN decides, okay, they'll be like, CBS picked whatever. I'm just going to make something up. CBS picked Alabama and Texas A&M. ESPN then looks at the rest of the games and goes, okay, we're going to put Georgia and South Carolina on at 7:30. We're going to put Mizzou and Vandy on at noon. We'll put Florida and Ole Miss on at 4 on SEC Network. That's how it goes. And it goes, and it works similarly for every conference based on who their TV deals are with. Some TV network gets first choice of game for every conference. And then the other network gets to come in and pick from all the games that are left. That's how it works. And most conferences have deals with more than one network where one network has priority. In case of the SEC, it's always been CBS. They get first pick, ESPN gets everything else. That's changing, though. What do you think about Notre Dame being exclusive with NBC? It was a big deal 30 years ago. It's not a big deal now. I don't know how old you are, John, but it wasn't always the way it is now, where every single game is on TV every single week. That was not always the case, even for a team like Georgia. There used to be 2, 3, sometimes 4 Georgia games a year that were not on TV at all. Sometimes they would even they'd be pay-per-view. And it was usually the terrible games, like we're playing East Tennessee State week 2, right? 25 years ago, that game would not have been on TV. If you wanted to watch it, you would have had to pay $50 and watch it on pay-per-view. It used to be that way. Back then, Notre Dame having a contract with NBC was a huge deal because every single Notre Dame game, no matter who they were playing, was on TV every single week. And no other team could say that. There wasn't a single other team that was on TV every week. This was before you had, 4 ESPN channels and 2 SEC network channels and an ACC network channel and the Longhorn Network and the Pac-12 network, and Fox Sports didn't exist back then. So, you have a whole lot more channels now to show these games on. So now almost every single Power 5 game that's played is televised. But that wasn't the case when Notre Dame first signed that deal with NBC, so it was a huge deal for 2 main reasons. Number one, money. They were making more money, way more money, on their TV deal than any other team or conference was making. Number two, it helped with recruiting, right? A lot of kids grew up in the 80s and 90s watching Notre Dame football because it was on every single week. It became easy to be a fan of Notre Dame because you knew you would be able to watch every game, right? So let's say you were 20 years old and you didn't have a college football team that you were a fan of, but you got into college football. A lot of those people became Notre Dame fans because they knew they could watch the game every week. And if you became a Georgia fan or an Alabama fan or a Texas fan or a Southern Cal or a Penn State or an Ohio State or a whatever, you couldn't watch every game. That's not the case anymore. So Notre Dame having a TV deal with NBC today is not worth nearly as much as it was 20, 25, and 30 years ago. In fact, every single team in the SEC, every single one, makes more money on the TV deal than Notre Dame does. Extreme Striker, that's right. That's why Notre Dame has a lot of older fans. Well, that's one of the reasons. That's a big reason. YouTube TV has the best sports channels. I keep hearing that, and I would love to be able to get rid of my Dish Network. I would love to, because I pay them $150 a month, and all I do, the only live TV I ever watch is sports and a little bit of news. That's it. Everything else I can watch on demand or whatever. But I'm afraid to get rid of, there's a certain amount of reliability and peace of mind that I have by having Dish Network. And because I do what I do for a living, it's worth, I almost consider my Dish Network bill a convenience fee. Like, it's just convenient. I don't have to worry about it. I know I can pick up my remote and whatever game I want to watch, I know beyond the shadow of a doubt, I can click a button and it's on. And so I hate that I have to pay $150 a month for that, but for what I do, it's worth it. Yeah, good morning, Nuggle Boy. Now, who was I talking to about this the other day? Oh, the contractor who's doing my building out back. I was telling him this conversation came up, and I was telling him, I said, yeah, I've got 2 kids who are middle school age, and I said, I'd be willing to bet you they never pay a cable or satellite bill in their life, ever. Both of my kids have cable in their room or satellite in their room. I bet you they haven't turned it on. I don't remember the last time they turned it on. They don't watch TV. They watch YouTube and these apps, Disney Plus and whatever the hell else, Netflix. See, I'm 42 years old. So when I was growing up in the 80s and early 90s, everyone had a home phone. Now, there's people watching who've never had one. But when I was growing up, everyone had a home phone. The first place I lived when I got out of high school, I got a home phone. Why? It just was how I thought you had to have one. This was in the late 90s. Cell phones were just becoming affordable for regular people. They were, handhelds had only been out a few years, I got a cell phone. A year or so later, I disconnected my home phone, probably in 99 or 2000 or so. I probably disconnected my home phone, and I haven't had one since. And that's how my kids will be with cable TV. I doubt they'll ever have it. They'll probably never have it. Yeah, what's a home phone? Yeah, like a landline, Muffin Man. Oh, yeah, the old car phones, Fireball, yep. A lot of people had those. I used to sell those. I was in the cell phone business for a long, long time. I was in the cell phone business so long ago, you actually had to sell people on the idea of needing a cell phone. It's not like it is now, you know? Somebody walks in the cell phone store now, they already know what they want. You don't have to convince them that they need a cell phone. You're basically just a cashier. When I first started, I started selling cell phones in 1998. 1998. Nobody had a phone back then. I mean, maybe 5-10% of the population at the most had a cell phone back then. So people would come in just to look at them because they'd never seen one before. You know, they'd want to hold it. They had never seen it before. We actually had to sell them on the idea of needing a cell phone. Different world back then. And almost every single day, we would get somebody who bought a phone yesterday. This is something, it used to be, when you bought a cell phone, you had to charge it for 24 hours before it would work. And the actual phone itself wouldn't work anyway for a period of hours. Phones had to be manually activated. I mean, it's night and day what it is now. But anyway, so it's not like you could sell someone a phone and then sit there and show them how to use it. It wasn't like that. It wouldn't even turn on. They'd have to take it home, charge it for 24 hours, and even if for some reason they only charged it for 3 or 4 hours, right, and then turned it on, it probably wasn't activated yet. It took a while. So anyway, almost every single day, we would have somebody come into the store that had bought a phone the day before. They would come back in with the phone, and the conversation would go like this here. I did exactly what you told me to do. I went home, I plugged it in, I let it charge for 24 hours, I unplugged it, I turned it on, it turned on, but it still doesn't have a dial tone. Every day. We used to try to guess when someone was walking in. Is this going to be a dial tone person? Yeah, it'd be a dial tone person probably. Look at them. Look at them. They look like a South Carolina fan. Probably a dial tone person. Slim Shady, thank you, sir. He says, Miami's Nike deal 30 years ago was the first of its kind, too, Lou. Now it's commonplace. I didn't know that about Miami. I didn't know about that, them being the first one to sign a big deal with a sports brand like that. I didn't know that, but it makes sense. And 30 years ago, Miami was actually good, so. Now Nike wants their money back. Parker, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, seems weird how so many people all of a sudden are huge fans of Cops and Live PD. Do people really like those shows or just saying it to be a bandwagon? I liked Live PD. I liked it a lot more when it first came out because I'd never really seen it. I mean, we had Cops, but Cops was basically an edited version of Live PD, right? Cops came to Augusta one time, so like they're here for like 2 weeks, and then they make a 30-minute show out of it, you know. So all you're seeing on Cops is what they want you to see, and it's action all the time. Live PD was interesting in the beginning because it was like reality. It was like a reality show because it was real time. But because of that, there was a lot of just riding around, and so it got a little Live PD. I didn't like Live PD as much over the last year or so as I did the previous year. I loved it when it first came out, but I did lose interest in it a little bit over time. So, yeah. Slim said that was a cheap shot. I see. Oh, 305. I see what you did there. I see what you did with the 305 super chat, sir. Do I have that one on here? Do I? Yeah. You know, in the 305, Slim, did you know that in the 305 they love Uncle Lou? Did you know that, Slim? In the 305, they love Uncle Lou.
In the 305, bitches treat me like I'm Uncle Lou.
Good morning. Live PD was in real time. Yes, it was. A guy died on live PD. Don't tell me it wasn't in real time. Which preseason magazine do you read annually, if any? All of them, sir. I talk about this all the time. Do I have them? Here. This is the one I'm reading now. Here you go. That's the one I'm reading now, but I read them all. It's out of habit. I'm old, sir. I'm 42. In that. Yeah, whoopity-doo. I'm 42 in that, so, you know, the internet was not around. The internet's only been around for about half my life, you know. So preseason magazines used to be how people found out what was going on. So out of habit, I still buy them all. And what I do now, I mean, I have thumbed through that one. I haven't really sat down and read it front to back or anything. But what I do is I usually take a couple of trips in the summertime, vacations. I got one coming up this weekend, just like a 3-day thing. And then next month, St. Augustine for a week. I'll get them. I buy them all, and I take them with me every year when I go on these. When I go on vacation over the summer. And this is again just something I've been doing for 30 years. You know, all this stuff in this magazine is available on the internet, but I'm a creature of habit, and there's just something about sitting out by the pool on vacation or at the, you know, or down by the ocean or whatever, and flipping through those magazines. So I still do that. I don't really have a favorite. I like Athlon, Lindy's, Phil Steele. There's not really one where I go, you know what, I'm not buying that one. If I see it, I buy it. Street and Smith is another one. John, actually, I'd never saved them. I've never really been into that. I know a lot of people have. I know people that have hundreds of them. I've never really done that. So I think I have a couple from last year that are still out here in the garage on my bookcase over there, but it's only because I haven't thrown them away yet. I don't know. I never got in the habit of saving them. I'm fixing to end it right now, I think, Kevin. If you weren't here at the beginning of the show, listen, this is a big deal for me, what I have going on here. I'm having, you know, I've invested in myself before with this channel, with cameras and lighting and microphones and things like that. You know, a new computer. You know, so you spend a couple $100 here, $1,000 here. You know, the computer was $2,000. I think that's the most I've spent on myself for this channel. I have $2,000 cameras, some $400 and $500 lenses. So I have invested in myself. But, you know, I've been working out here in this garage for 5 years. I have a 3-bedroom house. You know, me and Mrs. Lou have a room, and each of the kids have a room. I'm not lucky enough to have an extra bedroom, or some people have like a bonus room over their garage, or so I'm just, you know, when you have 2 kids, they take priority. So they, you know, I've been working out here in this garage for years, and I don't mind it other than the heat. I like being away. I like being separated from the rest of the house so they don't hear me yelling and carrying on and all that. I like having my own space, but it's just so hot out here in the summertime. And honestly, I feel like it's costing me money because I'll be honest with you, from about this time of year through September, there's days where I just get to the point where I can't sit out here anymore. It's just so hot. There are days where I don't want to come out here to start with because, it's, you know, in July and August here, it's 90 degrees at 9 in the morning, which means it's 110 degrees in this garage. It's just been brutal. Again, it's had its advantages, but it's just been brutal. And so I made the decision a couple of months ago to really invest in myself and have my own, whatever you want to call it, building, studio, whatever, built in the backyard. And I went yesterday and signed the paperwork with the contractor to have the thing built. And the work starts today. I got a tree company coming out to cut down a couple of trees in my backyard, and there's some underbrush and stuff under there where they're going to clear cut that little spot of land, because that's where the building is going to go. So that's the first step. So I'm excited. Well, I'm nervous too, because this is by far, by the time this is over and done with in about 8 weeks or so, probably 12. When they say 8, it's probably 12. This will be by far the biggest investment I've ever made in myself as far as this channel goes. So I'm excited, but it's a little nerve-wracking too. Plus, I'm going to have all types of contractors in and out of the yard over the next couple of months. So I'm excited, but that's why I have to end a little early today, because the tree company is coming over to get to work in the backyard. So I'm excited to move into the new area. I can't wait for you guys to see it. I'll keep you updated along the way. But I'm pretty excited. The area that I work in out here now is about 6 feet by 10 feet, maybe 6 feet by 12 feet, maybe. It's less than 100 square feet. It's way less than 100 square. I mean, I'm in a garage, but not the whole garage. I mean, this is still a garage. I've cleared out one little corner here where I sit and where you see all the videos. That's one little corner of my garage. And so it's not a big area, and it's hot, and all the other issues that go along with being in a garage. It's dusty in here. Anyway, so I'm excited to get out of here into a bigger place. It's 12 by 24, so it's huge compared to what I'm used to. It's 12 by 24, so however many square feet that is, 200 and something, I guess, isn't it? 12 by 24, 10 times 20 is 200, or whatever it is. I'm no mathematician, but it's 12 by 24. Anyway, I'm excited. So, but I am going to get out of here because they're supposed to be here between 9:30 and 10, and it's 9:42 now, so I'm not even really ending that much early. But Leroy, thank you for the super chat. I see that, sir. He says, my family always went to St. Augustine growing up. It was the best. Stayed at the Ocean and Racket Club, Oasis. We stay, sir, right next to the Ocean and Racket Club, right next to it. The parking lot where I stay borders the Racket Club. In fact, the place we stay has an agreement with the Racket Club where we can go over there and use that stuff. I don't do it, but yeah, we're right there next to that. And we've been going there forever, too. So anyway, I'm going to call it a day, guys. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. Big shout out to the ones of you that chose to support the show this morning with the super chat or the PayPal. I really appreciate that. Brian Biak, Keaton, BVD, Jordan Gary, Albert Sancho, Warzone, Rob W., Michael Gill, Slim Shady, Albert Sancho, Parker, Slim, and Leroy. And then over on the PayPal page, we had Jonathan M. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. All right, I'll be back tonight at 10 p.m. for the college football call-in show. Don't forget about that. We'll take phone calls for a while, and then we'll do the fan versus fan thing, see if we can get two people on the line to argue with each other. Seems to be a pretty big hit lately, so that's what we're going to do. All right. Talk to you guys later. Have a good morning.
You want while I'm way too scared to drop a hint. I leave it out and keep it in. Yeah, this feeling underneath my skin. But you must have noticed, or is it just me? Maybe I'll be honest. Maybe I will bleed. So I play it cool. Started off as being friends. I know you on the inside. We can talk about everything, deepest thoughts and all our sins.